What is up, everybody? Marco Romano with Tito Yang here to bring you another episode of Serie Addicts recap of matchday 23, 23? 33 of the
33.
Serie A, getting to the end of this season. Inter just putting another stomp on the Scudetto this season, but what we really care about is some of those other matches and the race for the Champions League spots, as
That's
well
right.
as who will be getting relegated, along with Pisa and Verona, who seem destined to have another campaign in Serie B next
Unfortunately,
season. Yep, but kicking things off with the match of the day, the old lady strikes again in the nuts. Juve beating Bologna 2-0, continuing with their
dominating.
hot streak as of late. Right, probably the most
Yeah.
informed team in Serie A over the past 5 matches.
Yeah.
Nothing different on this one. Getting things off to an early goal from Jonathan David.
Jonathan
Casper
David.
making
Incredible.
Casper the friendly ghost, the Canadian ghost, making a much needed appearance for Juve since Vlahovic is injured.
Yeah.
They've been struggling to find goals from anywhere else. From their other strikers. But Jonathan David finally getting in the score sheet on this one. And the other Turam, not the one that I have on the background, not Tikus, but
Different in the
Kefren,
78th.
putting in the second in the 78th minute with a nice header from yet another beautiful pass and assist
But
by
bro,
Weston
what was
McKennie.
I saying? What was I saying in the last episode? When McKenny plays, the attack just flows a lot smoother. We had so many chances that Juve could have scored four in the first half. Easy. Conceição was just causing all
Had a
sorts
great
of
game.
trouble, like on the right side. And then Boga had a beautiful game playing on the left in place of Yildiz, who wasn't feeling well this week. And then we want to make sure that we got him 100% for the Milan match. And so he took a little chill pill, and then Boga came in and did what Boga does. Like he was dangerous. Like in that first goal, he actually got past his defender, which basically caused the entire defense to shift. And then they switched the ball over, and Kalulu was able to put the cross in for Jonathan David, who was cutting in. But that was Boga like on the left, causing a little bit of imbalance in the defensive lines and forcing the other team to like actually shift to the other side. So I think he's been a very impactful player. I think he'd be second in terms of most impactful signing, uh, after Malin, obviously. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
For Juve, for sure. In the
from like
Serie
that,
A,
from like the half of the
yeah.
season, I mean, from like that January transfer market, you
No,
know,
another transfer for Juve hit the crossbar on this one. Very nice
yeah, home,
strike from
yeah,
home, playing
but
against his former club.
yeah, I was
That
saying,
could have easily been another one for Juve.
yeah, that was a really good strike. He played a really nice match, but I was saying, home is another player who's great, but I think his transfer price is a little bit too high. He's like 15 or so to get him back, to like actually get him on a permanent basis. And there's a question mark of his injury because he came in, he played a couple games, got injured. He was out for 6 weeks. Now he came back. Now in this game, he had to come out because he got injured. So it's a question mark around home on whether he's worth the money they're asking for him if he's going to be injured like that. I love the way he plays. I love his attitude. I love his professionalism. He's physical. He reminds me of a little bit of Lick Steiner, which is always a good thing. He seems pretty technical too. A pretty smart player, like makes good decisions. So far, I really like what I've seen from home. I don't know that he's gonna stay though, unless it's on loan.
No, I think he hasn't gotten as much playing time. I think Boga has gotten a lot more playing time than he has, and has produced some results. Home,
yeah,
I haven't seen him on the pitch as much, but
yeah.
I think he is a good pickup for Juve. When he's played, he's
I
done
think he's
a
great.
good job.
Yeah.
Um, what are your thoughts about Juve extending Locatelli's contract till 2030 and increasing his annual salary.
Well, they're trying to build a base. If you look at the numbers that they're paying him, it's not like they're paying him the same as Yildiz, and even McKennie makes more money. You know what I mean? So if you think about it, they did extend
No,
his
he shouldn't
contract.
be making more than either of those two players,
I'm saying, but
right?
that goes to show you that Juve did extend his contract, but the money he's making is a statement kind of to say, listen, dude, like this is where you rank on the squad. So all these players are making more money than you. Jonathan David, McKennie, Kenan Yildiz, Vlahovic, like all these players are making more money than you're making. You know what I mean? So like that kind of tells Locatelli where he stands as far as like player wise. So he shouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised if
the
somebody
pecking
comes
order.
in. Yeah. Shouldn't be surprised if somebody comes in making $8 million a year and he has to, step aside, play as a mezzala, do something different. You know what I mean? I don't know what's gonna happen because he's been playing a lot better under Spalletti, but a lot better from what he usually does still isn't probably good enough in my mind. He still shoots and the ball ends up in like the third row of the fans, like he did it two games ago. But he had a decent game in this last match. But again, they're not playing, Inter. They're playing Bologna. Bologna is good, but player against player, we should be dominating this match. I just thought like you took Kefren Turam out and you put McKennie in the midfield and you were completely destroying them, like in the midfield, just because you did that. Because McKennie, honestly, like I've been saying this shit since the beginning of the season, but he's on a different level compared to the other midfielders on the squad in terms of vision. Like he sees spaces, he sees, you know, shapes that other people just don't see. And the minute most European teams realize that, we're gonna lose him because somebody's gonna come offer like 85 million, and we're gonna have to let him go.
I
Because
don't, I don't, I don't know about that. More given his age, more than anything.
well, a player that you could plug into any position, like, oh, you're missing a right back, oh, he could play there. You're missing a midfielder, he could play there. You're missing like a number 10, he could do it. Number 5, he could do it. You know, winger, like an attacking winger, he could do it. He could play as a false nine. Like he's played every position except goalkeeper. Like literally for Juve.
And he's
Like
definitely played well, and good to see Turam back on the score sheet uh, as well. And
yeah, he should be more
his
physical.
brother has
Honestly,
been on fire, so it's good to see the other Turam also get on the
got
score sheet.
motivated.
He's had a good season as well. I think
Yeah.
it's more been how difficult it's been for you to kind of figure out the formation, the guys that they want to have on the pitch, where they want to put them on the pitch, and give them some time to gel. So yeah, you were informed for the past couple of matches, right? I would say the most informed team in Serie A right now, making a run for that second spot, which is where I had them to start off the season. So still potential for me to lock into my top five prediction in our first episode of Serie Addicts. So it's going to be interesting to see these last couple of matches, and
Yeah.
that's pretty much. Other than that, the battle for the relegation, what's in play, because Inter mathematically still a chance, but realistically no chance in hell that Inter are not winning the Scudetto this season.
Couple other notes I want to say
But what it,
before we move on from Juve is that Colt Miner seems to be completely out of like Spalletti's kind of reasoning in terms of like how the team is gonna run going forward. I'm pretty safe to say that he's packing his bags, right? So if Inter wants him, like you can buy him if you want. He likes those colors. I
yeah,
heard.
if he ain't getting any playing time at UA, I doubt he, especially in the midfield, he'll get playing time at Inter. Not a bad thing for Juve that Cup
Probably
Miners
leaving.
hasn't been featured as a part of their starting 11 lately, and I think maybe some of the good results that they've had is that has something to do with that.
I think it does.
Solid player regardless, but I don't think he fits UA's playing style or the playing style that I feel would make UA the most effective.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably a win-win if at the end of this season we see Cope Miners transfer to a different team.
Yeah. The only way I would see it working is if you transition to a 4-3-2-1, like, and with the wingers, and he plays on like on the right side of that 3-man midfield, and then somebody else does not Locatelli plays in the middle. But with Locatelli playing there, he can't. He's just not gonna cover like the same amount of space, and that and he's not gonna be able to have that freedom that he needs to go forward and be effective. So I think he's gonna be on the way out. The other one is Open Da. Didn't see the light of day again. He hasn't played in a long time. So I don't know what's up with that. 44 million. Now we're gonna have to pay for him. There's nothing we can do. So that's terrible.
Mm.
Also, you know. Um, and yeah, just want to throw that in there because that's something that you guys gonna have to deal with now. Like from now to the end of the season, they're gonna have to manage that.
Hey, but looking very good in a very good position to lock down, especially with their
Yeah,
play lately.
5.0.
Lock down one of those Champions League spots for sure. But we had other headlines and other matchups this weekend. Essentially, Napoli getting humiliated by Lazio, the defending champs. Napoli struggling as they bring their season to an end. I thought they were gonna make a run. Apparently, I was mistaken. Lazio able to put three and could have been a lot more. There was a missed penalty as well and a
Yeah,
bunch of other opportunities. Just humiliating defeat for the defending champs for Conte and team. Certainly not something that I was expecting from this match.
67% possession for Napoli, and they couldn't do anything with it. Cancellieri and Basic scored, right. Um,
Some good goals as well from Lazio coming from open play. Right, some good passes, easy I would say finishes. Just Napoli completely outplayed, and officially, their any shot at the title this season is over. Now it's about securing a Champions League spot as well, and things are heating up for sure with Inter now, with Juve and Milan. Right, Juve now being 3 points
yeah,
underneath Milan and Napoli, which I feel they can make up and probably finish second. You have Como, you have Roma, right, as well, fighting for some of those spots. So still a lot to play for those second to 6 to 7 spot in those European positions.
yeah. To be very honest, I didn't really think that you were gonna be in play for
No faith,
possibly the
bro. No
second spot.
faith.
No, like because I didn't honestly listen. I had no idea of the impact that Jeremy Boga was gonna have. He has been a definite spark plug in a lot of matches where we didn't have our best game, but he was able to solve it somehow. The match before the last one comes to mind, for example, right? And then the defensive solidity that Spalletti has been able to give the team. Juve now, if you look at the defensive stats, right, have the same goals allowed as Inter, and Inter are first. The difference is Inter has scored 21 goals more than them, right? Inter's the
Yeah.
best offense by far.
But Napoli started with a good defense as well. It's granted
Juve's
they've
got
had
a
a couple
better
of
defense
injuries,
than them
but
now, you know? That's what I mean. So if you think
definitely
about it, like
struggling
you
as of
said
late.
it.
Same with Roma, right? They're conceding a ton of goals at the worst moment.
Yeah.
Again, their hopes for the title gone. Now they find themselves with just a few games left in the season, fighting for Champions League place next season. That's not for certain either. Which 2 3 matches ago, I would say for sure Napoli were going to get one of those spots.
Yeah.
Had Milan kind of dropping a little bit more, but now it's game on.
Yeah, and I love it. You know, I love Spalletti renewed the contract already, even before he knew he's gonna be in the Champions League. That shows faith in the project. McKennie renewed his contract, so he's gonna stay with Juve. So that means that Spalletti got what he wanted because he wanted McKennie to stay. And Kenan Yildiz renewed his contract. You know, Locatelli renewed his contract. So that's when you have players like those, like key players renewing their contracts, is always a good sign. So that's all I'm saying.
Oh, always bringing it back to Juventus. Let's talk
Always.
about the champs. The champs are here.
The champs of next season are
Inter
here.
putting just another inching another step closer to that finish line and another scudetto. The
Yep.
hopefully we secure this one. We'll have two more than our city rivals Milan, which would
And
be lovely.
still a bunch
Three
less than us.
nothing win for Inter on this one against Cagliari. The Esposito brothers facing off. I think actually Sebastiano had a great game and he's become kind of a leader for Cagliari. You can see that
Yeah, it's
certain
true.
points throughout the game. He was not only everywhere around the pitch, he was taking corners, taking free kicks for them. He's a vocal leader on the pitch. But you would see his frustration whenever his teammates would give the ball away, right, or just
That's what you
not give
gotta
it a
avoid.
100% effort. It's
Yeah.
really good to see from Sebastiano Esposito. I feel and hope that he some at some point can make it back to Inter, and we can see both brothers play together. I thought Pio had a okay match. He really didn't add a whole lot. And I think it's tough when you're playing right next to Turam, who Tikus has been on fire lately, not only scoring
You were
goals, but with
criticizing him
assists as
before.
well.
You were talking a lot of shit about
Because
Turam.
he was terrible. I tell you,
You were giving it to
maybe
him.
Inter
But
have to
why
really
don't you
look
do it
about
better?
putting that clause in his contract that says like, hey, every month or 2 months, Turam gets to go for a couple of days to hang out with his friends in France and then come back. Because ever since he came back from the international break, he's been a completely different player, playing like the
He's
Turam that
trying to
we
play in the world
expected this season.
trying to play in the World Cup. Did he get picked?
Oh, he's been called up consistently, but France is one of those teams where it's like there's not a shortage in options for France, especially up top.
Didn't they already say the squads?
Maybe they released the squad already. I haven't confirmed, but I would be very surprised if Turam is not on the
I
squad.
mean, France got a bunch of strikers. If somebody's got a plethora of
Yeah, but
strikers,
they don't have a lot
is
of
France.
strikers like Turam.
Well, yeah, there's not a lot of strikers like Duran. You know, I'm gonna actually look that up. Like
They have a
who
lot of strikers that score some goals, but are more like wingers and creative kind of players that play either in the middle or like wingers, not actual center forwards.
okay. Well, they I don't think they got like the final squads yet, from what it looks like. Marcus Thuram is in there though.
And he's been playing well, right? He scored the last match that he played for France as well.
Yeah.
So I would be very surprised, especially if he continues to play like the last couple of matches that he's played for Inter. It would be very hard, and if Inter end up winning the title, I think it will be very hard for the manager to not name him as a part of the World
Okay,
Cup
bro.
squad.
Like that France
Not wouldn't be
team,
surprised, but
they should
no, it's
just give it to
ridiculous.
Steve Kerr. Like what the hell, bro? Like what is that?
Yeah, no, it's
What
ridiculous.
kind of roster is that? It's like what the hell, dude? You just look at the list and you're like,
Yeah, they can make
what?
three different squads, and they all three would qualify for the World Cup essentially.
Yeah, bro. It- there would
France is
be,
just one of those teams where right now the talent is just ridiculous.
oh man, what?
So,
Their
which
team
is
is just
good, right? Because you
insane.
had Turam score for Juve this weekend. You have Tikus score for Inter as well.
Kefren's not
But
even on the team.
Zielinski, Zielinski's goal. Zielinski has been playing awesome this
Yeah.
season. I don't know
No,
what happened
Kefren doesn't make
under
the team.
Inzaghi,
Kefren
but
doesn't
he's
make the team.
been reborn. Zielinski with volley,
Jesus.
top bins right on the corner, rocket, nothing for the goalkeeper to do on that one. And Barella getting on the score sheet again, has
Yeah.
scored now
He's
on the
been
last
playing
two
well.
matches and have been playing a lot better. Another one that I don't know.
You were criticizing
I
him
would say
too.
the international break
I
as
think he
well,
watches
but
and he heard you hate on him. And he's like, why are you hating on me?
hopefully, because this is the Varela that we all want and expect. And
He
right
played really
now, they
well.
went from like potentially thinking about using him as a piece for in the transfer market to now
Are you crazy,
nobody
bro?
in the
Like
midfield is safe except Varela,
Barella's a
which is how
foundational
it should
piece.
be. Yeah,
Barella
it's
is a foundational piece of that
crucial,
midfield.
crucial.
He does the
Yeah.
work. He does the work that most people don't even see. He covers the spaces. He cuts out the angles. He bodies the people. He intercepts the passes. Like people, a lot of people don't realize like the work he's doing because that's not what they're looking out for. They're always looking at the ball. But he does a lot of work in that midfield. The game before this one, he was
Mm.
just bossing it, and that's the thing. If you lose a player like that, you don't only
When
lose
he's
like
playing
the
like
skills,
that,
it's the
he can
character.
control the game.
Yeah,
He controls the
exactly.
game.
Like you got to
And
play down the
Chalanoglu didn't have
flanks.
his best performance on this one, but it's nice that when you have Zielinski coming in, right, that still his is that same danger man, same as Chalanoglu from outside the box.
Yeah,
And we talked about it. I said like for me that would be I would tell Chalanoglu before every match, dude, you need to at least strike 4 or 5 times from outside the box. If you get any a little bit of a glimpse at goal, just let it go. Same with Zielinski. They're just so good when it comes to striking the ball from distance. And when they do it, it creates a lot more opportunities for Tikus and the strikers up front. So Inter again, they're ready for the party. It seems, and some of these players are getting ready for the World Cup.
yeah.
Um,
Speaking of the World
Cagliari
Cup,
put up a good fight, but
I think you and I would have probably a good reason to root for Turkey, this in this World Cup because
Chalanoglu, Yildiz,
yeah,
they got a
yeah,
great
we got
squad.
some. They got a really good team. They got Arda Guler in there as well.
And it's gonna be fun to watch
Yilmaz,
if they can figure it out.
yeah, yeah, it's gonna
They
be,
got Yilmaz as well,
yeah,
who's fast as hell.
he's a nightmare.
That's gonna be a dangerous team. There's some really good teams. People, like the people that don't know that much about football. It's like, oh, Italy doesn't fail to qualify again. It's like, listen, like the level, the competitive level is
Different now.
completely different nowadays.
Yeah.
There's so many sleeper teams out there.
The other thing,
Turkey, freaking Norway.
they have game changing players. Some of them, like Haaland, because everybody's like, "Oh, why's Norway win?" They got Haaland. Like
They
the
got
difference
Haaland, they
that
got
makes.
Odegaard, they got
Yeah,
Sorlov.
bro, that makes a difference. That guy's gonna score during qualifier against anybody. Like Haaland against Israel. Are you fucking kidding me, bro? Like that's what I'm saying. There's no
I'm gonna
comparison.
be interested to see if they could keep up their scoring, and they can get like 5, 6 goals on their opponents in the World Cup, like they've done through qualifying.
I think they're gonna come here and just like kick some people's asses, and people are not gonna be expecting it, and they're not probably not gonna lose unless they run into somebody like Spain or France. That's kind of my
We
take
got
on Norway.
Norway. They're winning, but they'll be entertaining.
Yes.
Um, Another key matchup this weekend was Atalanta and Roma. This one was just a carne secchi masterclass, and
Yeah,
it
dude.
always pisses me off when I hear Inter are shopping for goalkeepers for outside of Italy. It's like, dude, we got so many great Italian
That
goalkeepers.
should be
Carne
illegal.
secchi being at the top of the list.
Yeah.
That that's somebody like, listen, if the Vicario thing doesn't work out, I would say go after Carnesecchi because as far as Italian keepers and keepers in the Serie A right now, I'll probably put him at the top of the list, and then you have De Gea, right? Maybe Savic,
No,
some
he's
other
not
good keepers,
Italian.
but
Yeah,
Carnesecchi is the cream of the crop when it comes to Italian goalkeepers in the Serie A, at least right now.
yeah, 100%.
And
You know,
doesn't
yeah,
help that Donnarumma making costly mistakes for Man City. And I think Carnesecchi has been solid for Atalanta for years and years and saves them on this one. Was just ridiculous in goal for Atalanta. They probably deserve to lose this match against Roma, but Carnesecchi kept them in the match. Couple of good players from Roma played well. Hermoso, Krstovic. Maling unfortunately didn't wasn't on fire like he has been of late. He kind of took a little bit of a break on this one. Granted, it was against a better opposition in Atalanta, but I
yeah.
think that was essentially the biggest takeaway on this one. Just the quality of Carnesecchi, just being the standout performer and saving Atalanta against Roma in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, he's done that match after match. That's why he's so highly rated. My concern with Karnaseki is that during the summer, there's gonna one of those English teams is gonna come around with a crazy amount of money and just take him away. Um, I would
I hope
love
that's not the
for
case.
Italian players to stay in Italy, especially the good ones, right? Because we need that for the league to get better. If they all leave just because of the money, then we have problems. I hope like somebody intervenes, like the government or somebody, because they got to make it more lucrative for Italian players to stay in Italy.
Yeah,
Because otherwise, we're gonna
yeah.
just always lose the
Something
talent to
needs to
some other
happen. They
player.
need to change the style of play. They need to
Yeah,
keep
that's
and
one.
develop their young Italian prospects instead of selling them for a ridiculous amount of money to the Premiership or other teams for them to ride the bench, be injured all the
Yeah, they're
time,
ruining
not
it.
really develop at all.
Yeah, ruining. Anyways,
But Atalanta still with some
Kaneseki,
hopes,
the
right?
shit.
Atalanta right on the edge and sitting on that seventh spot right now, only 4 points behind Roma, who they just played, right? So
Yeah,
still potentially an opportunity to secure a European spot. More than likely not a Champions League spot for next season, but I thought that they were completely out of the running last week, and now they have a little bit of hope of at the very least competing in Europe next season. And that's what I would say cuts off because Bologna, I don't feel they have a chance in hell to get into six. So it's now that the way it's gonna move between 2 and 7 at the top of the table. It's gonna be
yeah,
interesting
but
to
more
see what
likely,
happens there.
it's gonna be between 2 and 4, and then between 5 and 7, because the distance between Juve and Como now 5 points with 5 games left. Well, you never know, but honestly, that's gonna be hard to make up. I think for
It
Como,
all depends on the schedule, right? You gotta look at the schedule and who these teams play. I think Juve are in really good shape
Juve
right
play better
now,
against the better teams. So
and
if they got tougher games, it's better for them.
I, hey, listen, next weekend is gonna be key, right? That matchup against Milan. I have Juve definitely as the favorites going into this
They're
one.
gonna shit on Milan.
Um,
They're gonna score like 3 on them. Watch.
Listen, Milan got bailed out again by a goal scored by Rabiot this weekend. Just a 1-0 kind of uneventful and lackluster performance from Milan once again on this one. Along with Napoli, expected them to have a little bit of a run towards the end of the season and play better.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for them, that hasn't been the case, and they're another team struggle or still competing and potentially at risk of missing out on the Champions League next season. And I would still Napoli with the way the that Lazio dominated them in this last match. I would still have them above Milan, certainly US. So it's getting pretty dangerous for Milan here coming up to the end of the season. So let's see how that shakes loose in these next couple of matches. But that one's certainly going to be key out of the matches that are left. Como play Genoa, not an easy game for Como.
No,
That should be an interesting one. Roma play Bologna, and the way that Roma have been playing, that's not going to be an easy matchup for them either.
exactly.
And but then after that, Napoli play Como, Juve play Verona, which should be an easy victory for Juve there,
Yeah.
right? In either
Well,
Como or Napoli are going to drop some points in that matchup. And another interesting one is going to be Roma and Fiorentina.
yeah, and I can't believe Fiorentina drew against Lecce in the last match day. That was
I don't know if the fact that they know that they're in a better position and not a risk of getting relegated anymore, if they kind of soften, got their foot off the gas a
you
little
think
bit.
so?
Maybe I hope they don't, because I
That's a
want to see a
dangerous
good
way to
match
think.
between them and Roma.
You know what I mean? Like that's the dangerous way to think. I feel
Yeah, but they're not in danger of
they're
getting
like eight
relegated, right?
points,
Or at
8 points
least the
over.
8 points.
Yeah, yeah. Right now that
I
race
think
is
they feel
pretty
they're in a
much
comfortable
Cremonese
spot.
and Lecce. You know, it's like who is between those two, Cremonese and Lecce, and then it's gonna be those two teams fighting for relegation over the last 5 games. So stay tuned, folks. It's gonna be exciting. Yeah.
It is going to be an interesting wrap up to the Serie A season. I don't know if there was anything that you wanted to else that you wanted to call out. Again, I'm just excited, looking forward to Juve versus Milan.
Yeah. Well,
I
one
think
game we
that's
didn't talk
the
about
key matchup coming
that
up.
I thought was like a bit of a surprise was Parma defeating Udinese. But again, it's one of those games where it doesn't really matter for the standings, so that's why you don't talk
Yeah,
about it, right? Like it's two teams that are
other
not going
two teams
anywhere
playing for pride right
at
now.
this point. Yeah, yeah. For pride and player values.
And not surprising that the team that was lower on the table got the victory, because probably were a little bit more motivated, right? Because they were
Yeah.
sitting
Yep.
at 36 points, right? Which is where Fiorentina are sitting now. So
Yeah. They
not
were
surprised that
closer to
Parma
the
came out with a
relegation zone.
victory on this one. Probably
Yep.
Udinese, another team that Udinese kind of took their foot off the gas as well. I wouldn't be
Yeah, they're
surprised, right?
coasting
They're
now.
no longer competing for anything now. It's especially if you have any players that are competing and then in the World Cup, it's like, hey, shut it down,
Don't get
right? We don't
injured.
want
Don't
any
get
stupid
injured.
injuries.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's Udinese right now. They're gonna be in that
unless you're
mode.
Italian, which you're not playing any football
That's true. Honestly, this is the time where,
until the
like,
start of the other
honestly,
season.
if I were Udinese, I would play everybody who's not in the World Cup. Like, that's who I would play. If
Yeah,
you got picked for the World Cup, you're sitting your
if you're
ass
not
down.
fighting for anything,
Yeah,
that's what I would
yeah,
do. It's like, hey,
yeah.
World Cup, shut it down,
I mean,
shut it down.
players gotta have some sort of form, but they're gonna lose the form between in the break between the season being over and the World Cup starting. They're gonna have to get it again. So like just give
Yeah, but
them
it depends
way
on the type
fewer
of player,
minutes.
right? If it's a player, if you know it's a player that's a lock for their international squad, right? It's like shut it down. If it's a
Yeah.
player that maybe is still playing to grab one of the final spots in a squad, right, or kind of get in the starting lineup, then maybe. But
Yeah.
for all other players that you know are a shoe in, it's like shut it down.
Yeah, exactly. Just yeah. Cause it's just not you know what they're gonna be going to do and like you try to be fair to the person, you know. That's what I'm saying. So give
And
them a
they're not
break.
friends who, if one person gets injured, probably the one they're bringing off the bench is better, younger, faster,
He's
stronger.
crazy. France is crazy, like talent wise, just ridiculous.
Yeah. Italy need to get their shit together. And on
For
that
real,
note,
man.
we appreciate you guys tuning into another episode. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be here for the next one to see what happens between Juve and Milan. Juventus victory, more than
What?
likely. But for Marco Romano and Tito Yang, we appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in, and push.
He's out.
Yeah,